In the not-too-distant future, the mining vessel Borealis is traversing the vastness of space. The entire crew remains in stasis within cryopods, as they still have 4 years before reaching their destination. Suddenly, an asteroid collides with the ship, causing significant damage and triggering an alarm. One of the pods opens, and Andy is abruptly awakened by a holographic video of his family, who remain on Earth. The ship's artificial intelligence, AI, announces a hull breach and activates the survival protocol. Mechanical arms quickly assemble a specialized suit around Andy, complete with a limited oxygen supply and an integrated AI system. The emergency evacuation system is initiated, and the cryopods are jettisoned from the Borealis. Most of them safely propel away, but a few are caught in flames as explosions erupt across various sections of the ship. As the robotic arms complete Andy's helmet, his pod's thrusters ignite, launching him into space. However, as the pods approach the atmosphere of a nearby planet, the gravitational pull becomes dangerously strong, causing some pods to fall at perilous speeds. Several pods catch fire and explode during descent. Andy's pod deploys its wings, but they fracture under pressure, and the thrusters fail. The pod strikes a rocky outcrop, skidding across the rugged terrain before finally coming to a halt against a mound of earth. Andy, barely conscious, has a fleeting vision of his family before awakening. The AI misinterprets his distress as a cardiac arrest and prepares the defibrillator, but Andy disables it just in time. Looking out of the window, Andy realizes he's stranded in a barren wilderness. His attempts to use the radio yield no response. The AI alerts him that the pod is on unstable ground, urging him to evacuate. However, the door refuses to open. Searching the survival kit, Andy discovers there's no flare gun due to his low rank. Desperate, Andy kicks the door without success before using a fire extinguisher to smash through the glass. As he climbs out, the pod shifts, rolling onto its side and pulling him back in. The shattered glass tears his suit, causing oxygen to leak. Fortunately, Andy uses a repair spray to seal the breach. At that moment, the pod's engine shorts out, igniting a fire behind his seat. Quickly grabbing his son's toy, Andy clears debris and escapes the smoke-filled pod. He looks skyward just in time to see the Borealis plummeting to the planet's surface in flames, crashing with a thunderous explosion. The resulting shockwave throws Andy to the ground, but he recovers and questions the AI about their situation. He learns the ship completed only half its journey and has landed in uncharted territory. Spotting a distant light, Andy sets off towards it, trying the radio as he walks. After some time, he reaches the wreckage of the Borealis, half of it ablaze, and finds a pod nearby. He retrieves an oxygen tank but recoils as the lifeless body of a crewmate falls from the pod. Closer inspection reveals the tank is damaged. Unaware of bloodstains and claw marks atop the pod, Andy presses on. He soon discovers a cluster of SOS beacons amidst fierce winds. They've been set up by Dwayne, another survivor, who has salvaged equipment and is already considering desperate measures for survival, including using crew bodies as food. Dwayne reveals that before the crash, he accessed the navigation logs and learned the company rerouted the ship through an asteroid belt to save fuel, leading to their current predicament. Dwayne is attempting to send an SOS to Earth, a message that will take 8 months to reach its destination. If rescuers use a fast ship, they could arrive in roughly 2 years. Andy begins to despair, but Dwayne encourages him, suggesting they might find resources in the other half of the Borealis. While Andy adjusts the equipment, a sudden movement catches his eye. A shadowy creature leaps out, capturing Dwayne and vanishing without a trace. Alone once more, Andy sends the distress message before taking Dwayne's weapon. The AI warns his oxygen is critically low, prompting Andy to request a route to the largest section of the Borealis. As he walks, Andy continuously checks the radio for other survivors. Eventually, he reaches a cliff edge, where the AI admits its navigation system is malfunctioning. Frustrated, Andy thinks of his family and lets out a scream, only to hear faint static on the radio. It's another survivor, Naomi. Naomi is trapped in her pod but has managed to scan for the cruise trackers, revealing that only she, Andy, and Dwayne have survived. She shares her location, though the AI warns Andy that her area is unstable and his oxygen may not suffice. Initially hesitant, Andy is convinced when Naomi assures him she has enough oxygen for both of them. For hours, Andy treks across the desolate landscape, chatting with Naomi to keep his spirits up. As night falls, he hears strange noises and asks the AI to scan the surroundings, but the feature is inoperative. Naomi mentions that the AI model he's using was discontinued, a cost-cutting measure by the company that endangered the crew. Cautiously navigating with his dim helmet light, Andy freezes, convinced he's seen something lurking in the shadows. Dismissing it as his imagination, he presses on, but soon notices rolling stones near his feet and hears ominous sounds. Unbeknownst to him, a dark figure observes from above. He stumbles upon a series of peculiar holes in the ground, which lead him to a larger cavity covered in cobwebs. Realization dawns: these smaller holes are paw prints, hinting at the presence of something deadly nearby. Andy becomes frantic and quickens his pace, moving as swiftly as he can while noticing an increasing number of cobwebs in the vicinity. Before long, snow begins to fall, and he realizes the distant noises now resemble growling. A large figure darts past, prompting Andy to switch off his helmet lights and conceal himself. Naomi, meanwhile, is bewildered as her scanner indicates several crew trackers converging on Andy's position, yet none respond to her calls. Andy links his AI to the trackers, which suddenly appear clustered around him. Naomi informs him they're directly ahead, but Andy can't see anything. A flare is launched, illuminating the area and revealing a massive spider lurking nearby. Andy yells and sprints away, but the spider lunges at him. He stumbles into a crevice, and when he glances upward, the creature is reaching inside, trying to grab him. Terrified, Andy continues to flee as the spider follows from above. He is so distracted by the beast that he slips off a cliff edge. Tumbling down at great speed is excruciatingly painful, but the snow cushions his landing. The spider roars from above but does not descend. Andy, still reeling from the ordeal, panics as Naomi alerts him to his dwindling oxygen supply. Upon inspection, he finds another tear in his suit caused by the fall. He frantically uses the last of his repair spray to seal it. At that moment, Dwayne's voice crackles through the radio, pleading for assistance as he battles multiple spiders. Although reluctant to confront the monsters, Andy reconsiders when Naomi points out that Dwayne likely has oxygen. Following the flares Dwayne fires, Andy navigates through wrecked pods and eventually locates him. Dwayne begins to explain the spider's vulnerability but is abruptly attacked again. Andy hides, listening helplessly over the radio as Dwayne meets a grisly end. Attempting to escape, Andy ducks behind another pod, only to discover a second spider feasting on bodies. Naomi diverts the creatures by activating AI lights and voice commands in nearby pods, allowing Andy to slip into another pod unnoticed. However, her attempts accidentally trigger the lights in Andy's pod, startling him when he encounters a corpse. Fortunately, she activates more pods, successfully distracting the spiders so Andy can escape. The monsters soon realize they've been deceived and pursue him, but they halt as Andy enters a dense, foggy area. Once the spiders retreat, Andy urges Naomi to secure her own safety. Naomi reveals she can't feel her legs and begins panicking, but Andy sings a lullaby he used to sing for his son to help calm her. Continuing his journey, Andy stumbles upon a breathtaking scene of glowing fireflies. One firefly lands on his helmet, suddenly turning red and attacking. It can't harm him alone, but more fireflies follow suit, their combined assault forcing him to run. As he escapes, a growl suggests the fireflies were fleeing something larger. Suddenly, the ground splits open, revealing a massive creature's gaping mouth. It traps Andy, encasing him in a sticky substance to immobilize him. As the monster begins swallowing him whole, Andy remembers his suit's defibrillator. He announces a heart attack to the AI, triggering an electric shock powerful enough to make the creature spit him out. Enraged, the beast resumes its pursuit, forcing Andy to hide in what appears to be a hollow tree trunk. He tumbles into a subterranean nest of fireflies, which turn red and attack until he scrambles out of the tunnel. Naomi advises him to head for the Borealis ship since his oxygen levels are barely sufficient. Andy refuses to abandon her and presses on. Battling exhaustion and flames from the crash site, he finally reaches Naomi's pod. She lets him in, and Andy works to free her trapped leg using tools from her emergency kit. Though painful, her leg is not broken. After a brief rest, they prepare to leave with limited supplies. Naomi struggles to walk, so Andy fashions a makeshift splint to support her. While inspecting Dwayne's gun, they are surrounded by spiders. Running for their lives, Naomi uses medication from her suit AI to keep moving. They reach the Borealis's other half, sliding down debris as the spiders close in. Naomi distracts the creatures with flares, buying them time to enter the ship. Inside, Naomi manages to seal the door, crushing a spider in the process. They assess the ship's condition, finding it damaged but habitable with supplies and breathable air. Following a blood trail, they reach the main console, covered in cobwebs and remains. A giant spider enters, disgorging more body parts. Andy feels nauseous but forces himself to stay silent. Suddenly, an even larger spider descends through a hatch. Andy seals the door, inadvertently trapping them in an airlock. As the spider pounds against the door, Andy uses a tool in a desperate attempt to escape. Feeling hopeless, they sit together, and Andy shares a video of his late family, confessing his guilt over the car crash that killed them. Naomi reassures him, reminding him of his bravery. When the spider finally breaches the door, Naomi notices a glowing orb of fireflies on Andy's suit. They throw it at the creature, which becomes overwhelmed by the attacking fireflies. The pair escape to the cargo bay, only to face the spider again. Andy throws his empty spray can into its mouth, causing it to explode, and the duo flees. The spider persists, chasing them until Naomi distracts it with emergency lights while Andy climbs to eject a pod. As the spider strikes Naomi, Andy uses the pod to crush the monster. Though he appears lifeless, Naomi's pleas revive him. Holding hands, they watch the sunrise, grateful to have survived together. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification button so that you don't miss any of our video updates.